You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network, the home of the Options Podcast. For more quality options programs, visit theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app available in the iTunes and Google Play stores. Select programs are also available via live stream at mixlr.com/options-insider. That's mixlr.com/options-insider. Don't forget to follow along with your favorite programs and submit your own questions for the hosts at twitter.com/options, stocktwits.com/options, facebook.com/theoptionsinsider, or via questions at theoptionsinsider.com.
Welcome to the Hot Options Report, your premier source for insight into the fast-moving options market. Each day, we'll track down the products that are dominating the options chains and impacting your trading account. From Apple to VIX and everything in between, if it's lighting up the options tape, then you'll find it on the Hot Options Report. And now, get ready to scan the tape for the most explosive options activity on the street. It's time for the Hot Options Report.
The Hot Options Report is brought to you by Public. Now, if you're listening to this show, chances are that you're pretty serious about options trading. So let me put something on your radar. Public. It's the most cost-effective way to trade options. That's because Public is the only platform that gives you rebates on your options trades. They also have some of the industry's lowest index options fees, whether you're placing single leg or complex multi-leg trades. Every dollar counts. Check out public.com/optionsbrief and discover the most cost-effective way to trade options. Again, the Hot Options Report brought to you by Public. Full disclosures in the podcast description. All right, everybody, let's get down to business for the Hot Options Report for Thursday, July 17th. As we like to do, let's kick it off in vol land. Was it a hot day in VIX? Well, depends on your point of view. The ADV is 771,000, so it didn't quite get there today, but we were right around the number of the B666 in VIX options volume, so that carries with it its own special designation in and of itself. Again, we didn't have that little bit of a dust up between Powell and Trump like we had yesterday to cause that intraday whipsaw, and a little bit more volume on the tape. I think we're going to see that play out in some of the other names we're talking about here today. What was the hot option in VIX options today? It was the 16 half put. We've been talking about 17 puts for a long time. This time it was the August 16 half put, nearly 50,000 of them, 49,000 and change going up today. Seemed like it was part of actually a roughly 1x3 put spread. Paper selling the 18 puts for a little over $1, about $1.07, 11,500 times, buying 32,400, so roughly 1x3 of these 16 half puts, doing that for 39 cents. So clearly they're sitting on some profit. They're doing what we like to call a house money roll, taking that money, putting it back to work, buying roughly 3x. Obviously they did more total, nearly 50,000 of these 16 half puts. So do you like that? Would you rather take your money on the 18 puts and live to fight another day? A VIX went out today, VIX cash right around the 16 half level, listeners. So 16 half puts seem to be where the action is today. Moving on to SPY. Was SPY spicy? Same deal. Didn't have that dust up intraday, so I think we left a little volume on the table today. Right around 7.6 million contracts going up in SPY today. The ADV about 8.4 million, so not quite getting there either in SPY. What was the hot option in SPY today? 543,000 of the 627 calls. SPY went out, listeners, 628.04, so those went out looking pretty good. If you paid less than $1.04 for them, or if you sold them for more than $1.04, you're looking pretty good right now. Moving on to the S, 3.58 million, roughly 3.6 million contracts on the tape for the S today. The ADV 3.7, so right about in line with its ADV. What was the hot option in the S today? Nearly 200,000 of the 63 100 calls. If you paid anything for those today, you're not a happy camper. S went out 62.97.36. So obviously no joy for those. If you sold them for around $3 or more, you're looking pretty good right now. Moving on out to small caps. Were they hot today? The answer is yes. 1.37 million. That actually exceeds the ADV of about 1.28 million out there. What was the hot option out there in small caps, aka IWM today? It was the 212 puts, kind of continuing the theme of August downside, dominating the tape in small caps these days. 127,000 of the August 212 puts taking the top spot in small caps. IWM went out a little bit shy of 224 out there today, listeners. And heading on out to the Qs, was it a hot day in the NASDAQ? Right about in line, 3.61 million, the ADV about 3.7 million out there. So pretty much in line with expectations. The hot option in the Qs, once again, going back to 0 days, it was the 562 calls. We went out pretty close to that. So if you paid anything for those, you're not a happy camper today. Went out 561.80, listeners. So no joy if you bought those bad boys out there today. Moving on out to the single names. What was lighting up the tape? What made our top 10 in the single name equity options out there today? Cost you a little north of $500,000 to break into the top 10 today. So that's nothing to sneeze at. That gets you to Amazon, 506,000 contracts to be precise. What was the hot option in Amazon today? 39, nearly 40,000 of the 225 calls expiring this Friday. That seems to be a theme for a lot of our top 10 options these days. All the flow goes out at the end of the week. We'll see if we can find any exceptions to that rule this week. By the way, Amazon going out a little bit shy of the 224 handle out there today. So 225, got a little ways to go. You got one more day. Can we get there? I guess we'll find out tomorrow. Number 9, listeners, it's Coinbase. Right around 600,000 contracts hitting the tape today. What was the hot option in Coinbase? Once again, expiring this Friday, the 420 calls. They have a ways to go to hit that. Coinbase went out 410.75, so it needs to pop again. I mean, it popped over 12 handles today, so it needs to do that again tomorrow. These calls are going to be looking good. They went out with a average price of around 327, so it needs to pop even more than that for these calls to break even. So can Coinbase make it? I guess we'll find out tomorrow. Number 8, going out to Robinhood, 614,000 contracts on the tape. What was the hot option in Robinhood? It was 39,000 of the 105 calls. Do I even need to tell you? Expiring this Friday. And these are looking pretty good. The stock went out right around 105.5 today. Listeners, of course, the average price for those is around a 180. So we'll see if we can make back some of that. Either way, Robinhood coming in at number 8. Number 7, listeners, going out to AMD. Both AMD and NVDA have been riding high this week on the backs of that Chinese chip news. AMD, 823,000 contracts on the tape. The hot option out there in AMD today, 105,000 of the 162 halves. I think going forward, unless I say so, just assume everything is expiring at the end of the week in the single names, because that is the case here as well. AMD needs to run a little bit as well to get there, closed a little bit shy of 160.5 today out there. So needs to run a little over 2 handles to get there. Got one more day to do it. Can we get there? We'll find out tomorrow. Number 6, it's the Fruit Company, listeners. 884,000 contracts on the tape. What was the hot option in Apple land today? It was the 212 half calls, about 100,000 of those going up today. They also have a little bit of work to do to get there. Stock closed right around 210 exactly today, so $2.50 by tomorrow's expiration. Can we get there? I guess we'll find out on tomorrow's hot options report. Number 5, going out to Open. It's been fun to see so many newcomers and old names making triumphant returns to the hot options report this week. And that certainly is the case for number 5. Open, this kind of popped on our radar yesterday on the hot options report. There again today, Open Door Technologies. What is going on with this name? A lot of speculation about what the heck's actually happening here. What is driving this $1 stock to these new lofty levels? Hitting $1.65 today, up another 16 cents or a little over 11%. Options-wise, though, nearly 1 million contracts. You don't need me to tell you it's going to be near out-of-the-money calls, and that is indeed the case. In this case, though, listeners, It's 112,000 of the 2 calls expiring tomorrow. So yeah, the stock needs to run 35 cents by tomorrow to make these calls break even, listeners. Can it get there? That's quite the Herculean task. That said, it did kiss it this morning. It got to 202 today. So it did get there. So it looks like the average price of these today was around 16.5 cents. So obviously this thing needs to run north of $2 to make those pay off. Can we get there tomorrow? That might be a heck of a climb for this very meme-heavy stock out there. Either way, open. Coming in at number 5. Number 4, it's another frequent offender. It's Palantir, 1.05 million contracts on the tape today. The hot option in Palantir, 86,000 of the 1 doubles, the 155 calls. Where did Palantir go out? Right around 154, so it also needs to do a little bit of work, but only $1. Can Palantir get there? Again, stay tuned for tomorrow. Number 3, return of another newcomer, or at least a name we haven't talked about in quite some time. This is Lucid. It was on the report yesterday, coming back today, all the way up at number 3. Lucid on fire, over 1.5 million contracts hitting the tape. What was the hot option in Lucid today? 143,000 of the 3 half calls. Now, this is another one, listeners, where they need to do a little work by tomorrow to get there. Stock closed at $3.12, up an impressive 83 cents, 36%. I mean, you can't ask for much more than that. And you know what? We got close this morning, got up to about 337, but didn't quite get to 3.5 today. So can it get there by tomorrow? There's a lot of contracts, 143,000 on that strike. Sure, most of them are buys, so a lot of people are hoping that it does. We'll check back tomorrow to see how it's faring. Number 2, our old pal Tesla. A little bit shy of 2 million contracts on the tape for them today. The big dog, the hot option out there, right around 150,000 of the 325 calls. How are those shaping up? Well, Tesla went out 319.41 today, so it also has some work to do to hit that strike. We have a lot of out-of-the-money options going the way to Dodo tomorrow, so be fascinating to see how this all shapes up for tomorrow's hot options report. But before we get there, we got to do our number 1 most active equity option. What is topping our list yet again today? Of course, it's NVDA, 3.15 million. A pretty active, not quite as active as it was at the beginning of the week when, of course, we had all that volume coming in from that China deal, but still an impressive day, 3.15 million. What was the hot option in NVIDIA today? 287,000. That is a lot of paper. Of the 175 calls, the stock went out exactly 173. So can it move $2 or moved about $1.63 today? So we'll see if NVIDIA can get there. I guess that's the theme of our hot options report. Can we get there in one day? I guess we'll find out tomorrow. Join us for tomorrow's episode of the Hot Options Report. And stay safe out there, everybody.
You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network, the home of the Options Podcast. For more quality options programs, visit theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app available in the iTunes and Google Play stores. Select programs are also available via live stream at mixlr.com/options-insider. That's mixlr.com/options-insider. Don't forget to follow along with your favorite programs and submit your own questions for the hosts at twitter.com/options, stocktwits.com/options, facebook.com/theoptionsinsider, or via questions at theoptionsinsider.com.